Hey everyone, this is Austin Schur here with We Write About Music, and today I'm speaking with Richard of the Badly Behaved. The band has just released a fantastic new remix of their track called Runaway, and I'm super excited to talk to them all about it. Richard, I want to thank you so much for coming on today. How are you doing?
Very well, Austin. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you for coming. You mentioned that you were in Berlin, is that correct?
That's right. That's right.
What is going on over there right now? How's life?
Well, Berlin. It's funny. Whenever anybody asks that question these days, you assume it's got something to do with Corona, or they want to know if
Yeah, I
where you
suppose.
are.
I just mean like general life.
Generally,
How is life treating you over there? What's news?
yeah, it's a great city, particularly from a music and particularly from an electronic music point of
Yeah,
view.
one of
It's
the
where
best in the world. It's like,
it's where a lot
yeah,
of it comes from. Yeah, that's right.
very cool.
Yeah, that's right.
I have yet to go, but I'm headed out that way soon enough. So hopefully I can get to Berlin one of these days.
Let me
So
know. Let me know when you do.
I absolutely will. I do want to talk about the song though. It's called Runaway, and it's actually the remixed version. So normally I would kick off the conversation asking what it's about, and I we will get to that. But I want to know, how did you pick this song specifically to get remixed? Why this one?
I started a conversation with Philip Lauer. Philip is, I'd say, for this particular genre, probably one of Germany's most well-known musicians, producers, and DJs. And I referred him to the tracks that I had, a number of tracks that I had on Bandcamp, and he went through them, and he actually picked this one.
Oh,
But it's not coincidental. We both, I think, my music kind of, I try and incorporate a lot of different genres and a lot of different periods in time.
mm-hmm.
So they're modern elements, but there's also a lot that harks back to previous eras. And both Lauer and I really like that kind of high energy movement of the I guess it was kind of the early to mid 80s,
Sure, sure.
after disco. Um, and one of the producers we really love is an American producer called Bobby Orlando.
Okay, I've heard of him.
Um, yeah, so he was based in New York, and he discovered the Pet Shop Boys. The Pet Shop Boys came to him, and when I started making music, when I was a lot younger, one of the songs that really inspired me was the first version of "One More Chance" by the Pet Shop Boys, which
Mhm.
it was produced by Bobby Orlando, and he produced West End Girls as well. And then the whole thing was sold to Polydor, I think it was. And I think Bobby Orlando still collects royalties, to this
I would
day.
hope so.
I would hope, yeah,
Right, right.
uh, anyway, that one song really inspired me. But to answer your question, both Laura and I, uh, really like Bobby Orlando's music, and I think what we both like is this kind of raw electronic kind of sound that he had.
Yeah.
And Runaway, the original version, was based very much on Bobby Orlando's style of music. The bass line, the drums,
Sure.
the structure as well, and it obviously resonated with him. And he said, that's the one. I'd love to remix that song. So it was a case of me saying to him, can we work together? This is what I've been doing, and then him saying, I've gone through everything, and that's what I'd like to do, type of thing.
Sure. Well, that makes sense. How long did it take from start to finish to get the song remixed?
It's funny. I remember receiving an email from him one day. I'd sent him the stems, each
Mm-hmm.
individual track, and he had
Sure.
gone through them. And then I received this email saying, I don't know if it'll be this effective in English as it is in German. If it'll have the same effect, I mean.
Sure,
Uh,
sure.
but basically saying, leave it with me and wait to hear from me, and I'll get back to you sometime in the future. But I think probably about 6 weeks later, I
Oh,
had something. Yeah. And then the funny thing is, the first version he sent me with a note saying, do you like it? And, feel free to comment and I'll change it. And I said, the vocoder's too heavy. The cowbells are too loud. The melody's too soft. And then he changed everything. And it just didn't sound nearly as good as his first remix. So I
Okay.
wrote back to him and I said, let's go back to what you had before. I think the cowbells are a little softer than they were originally. But apart from that, it's
Right.
pretty much what he had done off the bat.
That's so cool. This is also a learning experience for me because most of the time that I interview people, it's about their original songs. And I love the original. I listen to them back and forth to really like, check out the specifics. But I had
Right.
no idea that you as an artist would be so involved in the remix of your own song. I assume that it would just be, here's the song, do what you want with it, and I'll see you in a month. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's really cool knowing that you kind of have like the final cut on it.
Yeah. Austin, I think it probably is normally not as what's the right word, involved or as intimate as this. But I had a rapport with him. But
Sure, sure.
I think normally you're absolutely right that it is just a case of, and artists will have, if they want to do something, if they really want to do something with a track, they'll get a number of remixes to remix it. And then
Sure.
I think it is exactly the process that you described. You just give them the stems,
Yeah.
something comes back, and you master it and release it, and that's that type of
See,
thing.
I love that. I love that you're involved in this because at the end of the day, it's still your name on the music. If it comes out and then, you don't like it for any reason, then you might say, well, we'll save this for a further release date and then, never put it out. But I think it all worked out. The remix track is fantastic, as I mentioned.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very
Are
pleased.
there any major differences between the two or things that he did that you liked the most? Things that, really stood out to you?
They I don't know if you've heard the original, but they too
I
complete.
did multiple times.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay, good, good.
it's great.
Um, they they completely different songs. I mean, it's hard for me to say I prefer the one. Well, I think I do prefer Lauer's remix actually.
Okay.
To be perfectly honest,
Sure.
they so different. The original has a very kind of classic pop structure. It has a very catchy bridge, but I think a very catchy chorus line too. All of that is gone in the remix.
Yeah.
But I think the remix, it's almost a different genre. It's it probably has more of a kind of progressive house type of sound, whereas
Okay.
the
I could see
original,
that.
yeah, whereas the original I think is more I don't know what you're going to call it, electro pop, or I don't
Yeah.
know,
No,
what genre it would fit into.
yeah. I'm actually really happy you mentioned that because that's the next thing I wanted to ask, but you've cleared it up was for someone that may not be familiar with the genre, like what would you call it? So I guess you'd call it progressive house for the most part.
The remix I would, but I'm not an expert here.
No one is. You know what? As with the advancements in production nowadays, everything is a little bit of everything else. So I don't think there's a correct way to call anything. So
Yeah.
I
To
think
answer
you're
your question,
safe calling it what you want.
right. To answer your question though about what elements were kept and what was left, the
Yeah.
bass line is still there.
Hmm.
It obviously doesn't. I think I used three different keys in the original version, and it's all just in one key now.
Sure.
But it is fundamentally still the bass line. The drums are completely changed, and then he's added in some really nice chords and melody. And the melody should actually be louder, I think. If I were to
Okay.
go back, I would have said to him, make the little riff, the little riff that he has louder.
I understand.
Um, yeah, but and then obviously the lyrics, he's just taken the chorus, runaway, leave today, runaway, get away, leave today, and just looped one little bit of it and put it through a vocoder, and then he's used one verse through a vocoder. But that's about it actually. That's all that he took from the original.
Well, I would still urge everyone to listen to the original and to listen to the remix and see which one you like better. Um, so this is your, I suppose, first release since the record came out earlier this year. And so I want to know what type of artist you really are. Are you the type that, the project is finished, I'm going to let it sit and breathe for a while, or are you always working and looking towards the next thing?
Yeah, it's funny. What I'm not very good at is almost multitasking between business and marketing on the one
Sure,
hand,
sure.
right,
Yeah.
and be creative on the other hand.
It's a full-time job.
It's a full-time job,
It
and it
really is.
requires a completely different mindset.
Mhm.
So I find it very hard to just switch between the two. So I'm probably going to spend, probably the best part of this year, I think, marketing the album and future releases from the album, and then probably later on in the year start work on new singles.
Sure.
That's my plan.
That makes sense.
Um, hmm.
Do you have any plans or any thoughts to maybe experiment with your sound? Go in a different direction potentially?
I don't know about a different direction. I mean, the one thought that I've had is one of my favorite Bobby O songs was a song called "She Has a Way,"
Okay.
and I thought of a cover of "She Has a Way." Obviously updating the sounds and making it very, I guess more modern and very electronic.
Yeah.
Um, but then working on new material. Will it go in a new direction? I think I'm just going to let it, evolve naturally. Just
Totally.
acting and see what happens.
Right. I mean,
Rather,
yeah.
you know,
At the
rather
end of the
rather than having a.
day, at the end of the day, you're the one putting the time and effort in. It should be music that you want to hear. You know what I mean?
Well, I also want people to appreciate it, and
Sure. I mean, I understand that, but I think people can sense like the passion behind it. It's like, oh, this guy really likes what he's making. You know what I mean? And you're spending so much time producing music, like it should be what you want to put on at the end of the day.
I think you're right. And also think if you, this is probably going to sound very corny. If you make yourself happy, you're going to make other people you're going to make other people happy because you're doing what you want to do and you're going to do a better job of it. So I think you're absolutely right.
Definitely. Have you found that the process of starting a song has changed for you over the years, or do you have a direct way of getting things going?
I don't, and I never have. Sometimes it's the lyrics. So I'll have a little
Yeah.
hook line or a sentence or whatever it is, or phrase, and sometimes it'll start with a melody and then I'll write words around that. And then I think like all, I was going to say artists, but anybody involved in anything that's creative,
Sure.
there are days where you're incredibly inspired and very creative, and the creative juices just flow, and you can write and
Oh
write and
yeah,
write. I mean, you probably experience this too as a writer.
absolutely.
And then the days where you can try as hard as you like, but it just doesn't happen.
Yeah, I 100% feel that every single day, and it's like you have to push yourself, but not push yourself to the limit to where it doesn't become fun anymore. Because making music and creating things should be fun at the end of the day.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I
So,
think if you stop enjoying it, then it'll show in what you produce, what you release.
absolutely. Do you find at that end that like there's something that you look forward to in the process when you're like either embarking on a new album or EP or something along those lines? The thing that's like, yeah, this makes it all worth it for me.
What really excites me is when a little bit like a chorus, for example,
Sure.
comes together, and the melody, the bass line, the drums, the vocals, everything just really works, and you play
Mm.
this bit of music, and it sounds good, and I get so excited that I've got to stop for a little while, and
Yeah.
just kind of relish it, if
Like,
you know what I
wow,
mean.
I'm making music right now. I get
Yeah.
it. I fully
Yeah, so,
understand.
so that's probably the most satisfying or gratifying a bit of it, I think, part of
Very
it.
cool. Very cool. And I don't know if you've done this in the past, but have you played shows or is that anything in the future that you might have planned or want to do?
As a teenager, I played in a band, but
Nice.
that's quite a while ago.
Sure.
Um, it's something I've thought about, and I think, I mean, this music is so studio, and my way of writing and producing music is so studio orientated that I have to work out exactly how to turn it into live performance.
Okay.
Um, but it's something I am going to explore. The alternative, but I think it's kind of a second prize is just DJing. But
Sure.
I think the right thing to do. I mean, the golden goose, if you like, is to turn this into a good live performance. The only
Absolutely. No, I think
I
it would
use session.
translate great.
Yeah, no, thank you for saying that. I use session singers. I'd have to
Yeah.
convince somebody to do this with me.
I don't think it would be too hard to convince, depending on, your social circle of musicians, but you'll
Yeah,
figure it out in time.
yeah. Oh, thank you for the reassurance.
Absolutely. Now I'd love to know, obviously things are always up in the air with touring and making music and whatever, but do you have an idea of what the next year might look like in a perfect world of things going to plan?
Next year, I would say, hopefully this album will receive a lot more promotion and a lot more um, a bigger reception.
Sure.
More sales, more streams, more whatever. And then if I could release, I don't know, I guess two more singles from this album, and then work on and release two new singles
Yeah.
over the next 12 months. I think that would be a job well done. And then to your question or your idea about live performances, if I could try and arrange that or try and get something going in the next 12 months, that would also be a big achievement, I think.
Nice. Well, something to look forward to, that's for sure. I have a couple more questions for you. I want
Sure.
to know, what are you listening to in your free time? Is there anything like on your personal playlist or artists that you'd love for other people to discover from you?
Yeah. Um, I obviously listen to Lauer, so I guess that's a bit of
Sure. That's a
a bit of
great
a
shout
plug.
out. Great shout out right there. Of course.
And then I listen to quite an eclectic mix of music. Ladytron, I quite
Okay.
like. I know they were in California recently. I think
Nice.
I read on one of the blog sites, and um, Röyksopp have a new album coming out, and I'm
Yeah,
eagerly awaiting that.
totally.
Uh,
I'm gonna see them in a couple months. I'm really excited for it.
oh, lucky you.
Yeah.
In California
No,
or
in Poland actually.
okay, in Poland.
Yeah, they're playing a music festival there.
I see, I
Yeah.
see. Oh, I'm very jealous. And then I still listen to older music as well. I uh, I listen to uh, Brian Ferry.
Mhm.
Just as an example. I was inspired by, and I still listen to Joy Division and New Order.
Totally.
Um, and then I try and listen to newer current artists like some of the Calvin Harris
Yeah.
tracks I quite like. I really rate The Weeknd
Same.
as a current current pop artist.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Actually, going back to your point about classifying music according to genres, to me that's classic pop. That's very much pop.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But it's always labeled as R&B,
Yeah, I don't know
which I
why they do
disagree with.
that. It's about as poppy as it gets. So I
Right.
don't know. There's a
Yeah.
right and a wrong, but I think you're right here.
Yeah.
um, Richard,
But
I've got one more question for you. I want to know, is for the person that's going to discover your music from this, and for the person that's going to discover you from this, what is an opening message that you'd like to say to them?
I'd say uh, well, probably two things. I mean, the one is be open, have an
Yes.
open mind when you listen to music, because I think what we tend to do is we don't just listen for the sake of hearing good sounds. We also identify with particular styles of music, um, um, with the artists and so on. Be open to listening to music for music's sake. And then the second thing I would say is, but this is probably an extension of the first thing. Really enjoy the music.
Yeah,
Really listen to it on headphones and turn it up and be part of it and really enjoy it, because I think once you get into it, it's just fantastic. So those
I
would be
agree.
my two bits of advice.
I think that's a great answer. Richard, I want to thank you so much for taking the time. I also
Awesome.
let me please plug your music for you one more time. The song is called Runaway. There are two versions, the original and the remix. The project is called The Badly Behaved. We're going to have links so that people can listen and share and follow along and do all that fun stuff. But sincerely, I want to thank you again. This has been a fantastic conversation, and I look forward to hopefully speaking again.
Great. Austin, thank you so much
You're
for a
very
great.
welcome. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your night since it's nighttime by you. And I'll talk to you later.
Great. Thank
All right.
you.
Bye bye.
Okay. Bye. Bye.